Hi, I'm Lloyd, and along with my brother and business partner Dan, I'm the co-host of the Business Anchors podcast. Today we're discussing the wonderful world of the internet, the new media, and why the headline you read this morning could be the cause of some big problems down the line. I feel like we're passing information around face to face with our friends and family that we've heard from the internet that's completely untrue. And I think this is it's having real world really negative consequences. All right, Past Lloyd, we're known for our light-hearted business banter here at the Business Anchors podcast. Anything we can lighten the mood with? Bloke says to me at a networking meeting, well, you gotta milk the cows because otherwise they're gonna burst. So, it's ridiculous being vegan. Great, that does the job. The classic bursting cows argument. That sounds closer to our normal style. Dan also reminded me of the phrase getting done, something I last heard at school when I got done for smashing the staff room toilet window with a football.
I think it's The Sun. They're actually getting done for this now. They did a headline when Brexit was a big thing saying Queen backs Brexit. And then I think, the Buckingham Palace came out and said, no, she doesn't. Tell us who the sources were, and then they had to go back on them. So they're just making up shit, aren't they?
They are, Dan. That's why as Business Anchors we're here to put this right and enlighten people how they can stop the spread of misinformation. Here's episode 38 of the Business Anchors podcast.
We're just a couple of business anchors. Welcome to the Business Anchors podcast. This jingle is slightly too long. This jingle is slightly too long.
How do you know if something you read or hear about in the media is true, Lloyd?
You don't. God, this is something I am passionate about.
Why?
Because I genuinely think this is one of the biggest, not necessarily just social media, but the biggest issues in our society today is that people read
Headlines
and hear things and accept them as the truth so readily. I think it's really causing massive issues.
I also think it's not their fault all the time. I think we're conditioned we're born into this thing where the media tells you what's going on in the world. It's not like they're just being dicks like, I'm going to believe this stupid thing.
I think our grandparents' generation, so we're very lucky that our grandparents are still alive. They're in their late 80s. There were 4 or 5 newspapers.
Told you everything.
There was a radio, BBC radio. They told you the news, and they were, well, if I read or listen to this here, this is my source of information that tells me what the right information is. And I think it was probably much more accurate at that point, and there were fewer sources of this accurate information. And I think that's been passed down the generations. So, for example, our parents, that's in the paper. Yeah, I believe that.
Yeah. But our generation...
And now then there's this new... our generation and the next Gen Zs. I don't fit into that because I'm too old.
Yeah.
Now there's loads of sources of information on the internet, and
you can check stuff.
You can, but loads of people don't. And also, I feel like we're passing information around face to face with our friends and family that we've heard from the internet that's completely untrue. And I think this is I think it's having real world, really negative consequences. So this is, I just think this is really important.
Yeah. I think, and something that I've always found with you, I mentioned it in loads of podcast episodes, but your inherent thing of questioning everything is really relatable to this topic, because you don't just read headlines. Even like people we know are sharing stuff, and you're constantly like, how do you know? Where'd you read that?
That's the thing.
Which is a good thing.
I think this is why I think this is such a big issue, because when I feel like I've learned something new from someone, or I've read, or from an online source or a newspaper, or TV, friends, family, I have a process I go through. So I'm very polite to people when I think, oh, okay, right, I didn't know that. And this happens in this office as well. People say things to me, and all my whole life, and I have a process. So I make a note of it, like, oh, I didn't know that. That's interesting. Then basically, it's normally 1 or 2 times, either while I'm having a poo, or when I'm on the sofa in the evening. I then
Fact-check.
research that thing. So, for example, what can I give an example?
The cows thing.
The cows thing.
Remember that bloke told you at the networking meeting? This is actually quite a good example, isn't it?
Yeah. I didn't need to check this, but I did. So, bloke says to me at a networking meeting, well, you got to milk the cows because otherwise they're going to burst. So, it's ridiculous being vegan. So, using this as an example.
No, but be honest, he was being deadly serious, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was being deadly serious. Someone's told him that as well. So, he needs to use this process. So, first, you find out where the information comes from.
Okay.
So if you can find that out, it's probably might be a Facebook post headline: "Cow bursts in Cumbria," right? Because vegans aren't drinking enough milk, right? So you find out that, and then the next step is so guys, you're on the toilet, you're just googling. Okay, right, I found this article. Okay, cool. Then you need to work out if it's a credible source.
How do you know if it's a credible source?
So,
because I'd think some newspapers are credible.
I'm realising how intense my inner process of my brain is now, but I'm going to try and explain it.
Go on.
So, to work out if it's a credible source these days, this is my process. You need to work out what incentive that source has to tell you the truth.
Interesting.
So, nearly every website that advertises on their website has a massive incentive to get clicks to their website, and that's how they make money.
Yep.
This is true.
The ads to viewers.
This is true for all the traditional newspapers now because they don't make any money with the newspapers. It's all their websites.
They have those annoying, shitty ads that make it a horrible experience.
So online publications, the traditional newspaper websites and things like that, anything that has lots of adverts on, you've got to think, actually, their incentive is just to get me to click to this website, not to tell the truth. So that is a bit tricky, but that's one of the things that, My next step...
Oh, wait, sorry, can I just keep on this step?
Yeah.
Can you give another example? So that's a newspaper, whereas what would be a credible source? Like, what's an example of a credible source? Study or something by
anything you read... Yeah, anything... So, for example, a scientist, you have the scientists on TV about COVID now. If someone's in a role where they're paid the same, whatever the answer or outcome or information they provide is, it's likely they don't have an incentive to try and...
So like Chris Whitty, the scientist guy, said...
Chris Whitty, and again, it's a sliding scale. There's probably part of Chris Whitty's like, if I say this thing, then Boris Johnson's going to... I don't know if he has the power to do that, but I might get
Promote
sacked.
me. Yeah.
But you think a scientist, if he's in a job where his job is... do this thing,
we'll pay you.
Find out the answer. We'll pay you to find out the answer. We want the answer. We don't want you to find out that this is the truth. We want the real answer.
Yeah.
So he's got no incentive to go one way or the other.
So that was your step 2.
And then next step, try and find an opposing argument. So your mate said, my mate said, cow's going to burst. So I then have a look and go, is there any... Right, let's see... Is there anything saying actually...
Cows won't burst.
Vegans don't cause the cows to burst? I mean, that one's actually so ridiculous. It's not an opposing argument. No one thinks to oppose that argument. Yeah. But obviously there's lots of things on...
Yeah, that's a ridiculous example.
You can find out... actually, how does factory farming work? They impregnate the cows... constantly to make them produce milk. So if they don't do that, actually cows don't produce milk. You're like, that's interesting. That's a fact of life. So I can trust that. That's biology. And the work out if the opposing thing is a credible source.
Yeah.
I'm reading this in this study that cows produce... only 1% of cows produce milk when they're not pregnant or just had a child.
Can I just add one thing to that in terms of studies? I think you also need to really look at who funded the study, because before this podcast I was looking up, there's an example of a pasta company that funded a study to see if pasta stops you having heart disease, and they found that
what a surprise,
they found that in rats there's a chance it could stop you having heart disease, but it was funded by a pasta company. That's
interesting, because obviously those scientists, imagine
highly motivated,
pasta company will give you $500,000 to do this study,
if you find...
By the way, we're a pasta company. We want to find out if this is good for health or bad for health. And do you know what? We might fund other studies if if this goes well. Oh, what a surprise!
Yeah.
Pasta is good for your health.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you're definitely right.
Cool.
Yes, so once you've done that, both sides, then you can make a judgment. So,
Yeah.
I
there more
make
steps?
a judgment. No, not the
Oh,
man.
okay, cool.
So, where did they find that information? They found it here. Is it credible? What's the opposing argument?
Is that
credible? Now, what's my actual opinion?
Yeah.
So that, and I think this is so important because obviously, if I didn't have that process, how many people would I have spread the fact that cows burst if they're not milked?
Yeah.
If vegans continue to not drink milk,
Yeah.
cows are going to burst.
Bloody vegans, that's what you'd be telling everyone, yeah.
Have you noticed blood and guts all over the farms where they're just bursting because people are drinking almond milk? Bloody hell.
It's interesting, because then how many people you speak to and spread that, how many people they speak to.
And the reason that I think this is such a big issue is from doing this, I would say 80 to 90% of the things that my friends, my family and my colleagues say to me that I feel like, oh, that's a new thing I've learned, aren't true when you actually look into them.
Yeah.
And I think that's really worrying because if it's not like someone's trying to get one over on you and tell you a lie for some reason.
Yeah.
Like literally these are things that my mum says to me, that people in this office say to me.
Because it's that whole a credible person has said it. Because they believe it. Like if you trust me, I know you've got this whole process, but if you weren't you know, I'd say, Lloyd, this thing happened. This is, you think, oh, I trust Dan. Dan's my brother.
That's the thing. It's not that I don't trust my mum.
Yeah.
Or I don't trust the people I work with in this office. It's just if you're just saying things that you have read somewhere, or someone else has said to you, I know. Sorry for ranting about this, guys. I just think it's a really, really big thing that quite has real world issues. And sorry, I've got an example, but I feel like I'm ranting about this.
No, go on.
No, for example, I made sure I want to back this up with something that's actually happened. So this happened 17th of March.
Okay.
So cool. I'm not sure when this goes out, but 2021. So the Daily Mail puts out an article on the 21st of November 2020.
Yeah.
Showing statistics of deaths, showing that actually more people haven't died in 2020. So is this COVID thing really causing more people to die?
So it's like overall the deaths are the same to last year, right?
Yeah.
Okay, get it.
And this is something that anecdotally I've had one of my closest friends say to me, that actually COVID, there's not many more deaths.
It's nothing wrong with it.
This is something someone in this office has said to me, and my auntie has said to me.
Okay.
And it was headline, they were showing this diagram, no, not more deaths. So that was 21st of November, this is in the Daily Mail, showing a graph with data saying this is the case.
Must be real.
So months later, on the 17th of March, there's the viewers might be able to see, but a very, very small, would take up about, I don't know, 10% of a page of a newspaper, that they had to correct themselves. Basically, it was just all complete lies. The data was completely inaccurate.
Really?
They basically said, obviously you can read this, guys, it's online. Clarifications and corrections from the Daily Mail. And it said the data was wrong. We presented it in a way that was misleading, and it's wrong. But that's since November, probably hundreds of thousands of people in this country have thought that's the truth.
I've seen that, and then told people they know.
And it's had real world consequences.
They shouldn't be allowed to do that. There's another example as well. I think it's The Sun. They're actually getting done for this now. They did a headline when Brexit was a big thing. Well, it still is, but I mean...
When people cared about Brexit because COVID wasn't a thing.
Yeah, before COVID, Brexit. They did a headline saying, Queen backs Brexit. And in it, when you look at it, it says 2 unnamed sources they got the information from. They didn't name them. And then I think, the Buckingham Palace came out and said, no, she doesn't. Tell us who the sources were. And then they had to go back on them. So they're just making up shit, aren't they? It's worrying though, because is it Rupert Murdoch who owns a load of the media? It's like such a powerful tool to influence. It's just like the Facebook scandal with what was the company called? I can't remember what the company is called. Where they did quizzes.
Oh, Cambridge
Analytica. That's it. And then got all that data, and then targeted people with ads to influence the government. But it's worrying.
I do think it's worrying, and I think it's like I said, I think literally everyone that listens to this, it's you, it's me, it's our friends, it's our
ingrained
family.
in us.
It's
isn't
not
it?
just this Daily Mail have written this thing to mislead us. I think we're all reading things and not checking out the facts. And then telling other people about it. And I think we just need to be careful, because there are genuine real world... For example, this COVID thing will have caused actual people dying.
Because people have seen it and then thought,
people said, it's not actually true, so I'm not going to wear a mask.
Yeah.
Or I am going to meet up with more people and stuff like that. And again, we have to be completely open in the fact that there could be another correction to this. Actually, God, it was,
Yeah.
I think it's unlikely, obviously, because it's they've corrected it and been made to, because there's the data says otherwise.
Also, another interesting thing is the way the media shape the angle of a story. Like, the whole Meghan Markle and Kate. Is it Kate what's her name? Kate Winslet, that's it.
No, it's not Kate Winslet.
Kate Winslet.
But I saw Kate Winslet in your notes and let you say that because I thought it would be funny.
Kate Middleton, sorry.
Yeah.
Kate Winslet.
I saw that in your notes and thought, could correct it, but I'll let you say Kate
Middleton.
Winslet.
Shut up.
Yeah.
So this whole avocado thing. So there was two. They were both known to eat avocados when they're pregnant, and the headline for Kate said, "Kate's morning sickness cure? ? Prince William gifted with an avocado for pregnant Duchess." So it's like a cure for her. And then the headline of Meghan's version was, "How Meghan's favourite avocado snack, beloved of all millennials, is fueling human rights abuse, drought and murder." There's actually real headlines for the same thing.
It does.
It's mental, isn't it?
It sounds like it's made up when you put them side to side, doesn't it? Yeah. I think, like we were saying earlier about incentives, and I don't know where were those headlines from?
I just read a headline and believed it.
No, but do you know what they were? What newspaper?
I want to say one was The Independent and the other was The Sun, I think.
Okay.
I can't remember.
You should probably check that, listeners. If you've been listening to me, you should definitely check that.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But, I think we've got to start thinking with these things, what is the incentive of... I do... don't get me wrong, there's genuinely really good journalism out there and things you can learn from, but in the articles they'll have the sources of the information and things that you can check. I think when a news article, inverted commas there, listeners, doesn't direct you to any sources of actual information, they're just saying stuff. I think we should all be questioning, hang on, if this was true, wouldn't they be saying, if you're worried if this is true, here's the information?
Yeah, so one of the things I did before this was actually look at quite a few news sites like The Sun, the Daily Mail, and to try and look at what the types of headlines and stuff. And do you know what? Honestly, looking through and scrolling and reading some of the headlines, it just made me feel shit.
What do you mean?
No, just because everything they're saying is very dramatic and like, the world's going to end, it's going to be terrible, and it's all... When you're reading it, it's just a lot of horrible things to take in. I think that they need to over-dramatise everything to drive those clicks. And even when you do click on it, like we said earlier, you scroll down, it's just filled with these crap ads that... I know we're an advertising company, but I definitely wouldn't condone putting ads in places that disrupt people.
But you're basically, that's tricking people into thinking there's something worth reading.
And then shoving a load of ads in there.
There's a load of ads there. So I don't think the companies advertising aren't getting good value for their money because they're just being like, I never click on a news article and remember what ad has been...
I did find a new trick though on Facebook where when there's a clickbaity article, you look at the comments on the Facebook post and someone always says, don't bother clicking, this is what's in it.
Right.
But then I realised from what you've said, I shouldn't believe what they say because I haven't fact checked there.
But at the moment,
I'm part of the problem.
When you're thinking about, like I said, the incentive to tell the truth, that Facebook commenter can't make. Well, you think it's less likely they can have an incentive to lie to you.
Yeah.
Rather than the person that makes money when you click on that. So I guess I would think it's more, which is weird to think, and I think that's completely reverses what previous generation of things have kind of put value on. It's weird to think a random person in the world, you have no idea who they are, that writes a Facebook comment, in my opinion, is probably more trustworthy than this, one of the biggest news papers in the UK. But I think it's the truth.
I've got a question for you about the future. So looking back, like you said, our grandparents' generation, it was the newspapers and the media tell you this stuff, which is true. You listen to it, that's that. Our generation, newspapers and the media tell you stuff, you take it in, and you can find other sources of information with the internet to fact check and things. In like 50 years, what do you reckon? Do you reckon there'll just be a tool where you just like take a photo of it and it says this is true, or this? Like,
well, I think it's hard because it's so hard with globalization and the internet. There's millions and billions of things happening every minute, and in most cases, there's only one person that knows if it's true. So like, a kid's being born in India now, and they've got 12 legs. Just a random example.
Okay.
I don't know this is happening, by the way. I've made it up.
Okay.
The only people that genuinely know if that is true are the people that help deliver that baby. So the likelihood that you will get a direct answer from one of those people sitting on your sofa in Margate in the UK.
Yeah.
Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I think it's too hard to ever know what's the truth because there's too many people that would want you to think.
No, but if you think with technology evolving, right, let's say in 50 years, everyone has a contact lens that documents everything that happens, and then it's documented on that contact lens, and then people can tap into that data and see if it's true. You know, and that sounds mental, but
I think the technology as well is going the other way. So you've got what's the thing called with the
Google Glass?
Put other people deepfakes.
Oh yeah.
So for example,
the Tom Cruise one on TikTok.
Yeah, Tom Cruise has got this TikTok. Not Tom Cruise. It's a deepfake, so it looks like it's him. There's no way of any human. Well, unless you're clued up on deepfakes and you look very closely. There's no way any human could fact check that. Or, do you see what I mean?
It's scary in terms of like...
Because if he did something with a deepfake of Tom Cruise, surely that fact checker that you're talking about would say, yeah, Tom Cruise kicked that cat.
Yeah.
But actually it's a guy that's got a deepfake doing it. Do you see what I mean? I don't think you'll ever...
No, I think it's concerning in terms of, in terms of crimes and things. Now, we've got this CCTV evidence that Lloyd kicked this cat. If it's just someone with a deep fake that's wearing similar clothes to you, how do they know?
I did it.
Oh, you did do it? Okay.
Yeah.
Not very nice.
I didn't really, guys.
But it's interesting. It's it's an interesting topic. So remind us of those 4 steps, Lloyd, or whatever the steps were.
Oh, four.
Was it 4 steps?
Find the source of... I say to you, did you know if you eat chicken tikka 3 times a day, you get a 6-pack?
Right. Okay.
And then you find the source of that. Where did you hear that? On Facebook. Okay. Right. Look for that bit of information. We'll try and work out if it's a credible source and what the incentives of that source are. So if they're likely to be true. Find the opposing argument. Is it likely that not eating
6 chicken tikka
might be better for getting a 6-pack?
Yeah.
Maybe it is.
Fact check that.
See if that's credible. Work out their incentive, and then make your own judgment. And your own judgment might still be wrong, but I think you'll have a better chance at getting to the truth.
That's Lloyd's 4 steps.
Thank you for coming to my TED Talk.
Interesting. Anything else you want to say to finish the episode off?
No, I was finishing it then, but you carried on talking.
All right.
Have you got anything else to say, Dan?
No, I was finishing it then, but then you carried on talking.
Cool. See you later, guys. Tune in next week for more Business Anchors fun. Check your sources.